Hello and welcome to this episode of Simply Saturday, where I get to show you a card that is fast and easy to make. My name is Julie. I am going to be showing you how to make this cute card, and it is very fast and easy. Let's get started. I am using a new stamp set called Circle Sayings, and it is available as a bundle. Comes in a bundle with a 2 3/8 inch circle punch. You're going to see both of these products used on this card. So the very first thing that I'm going to do is prepare my white cardstock. This is 4 inches by 5 1/4, and I am going to place it into the Painted Texture 3D embossing folder, and we're going to run this through the Stampin' Cut and Emboss to get our piece all prepared. Now, when you're using a 3D embossing folder, you will only use a number 1 plate. Then the embossing folder goes next with the hinged end first, and then the specialty number 4 plate. And that's going to go through. And we get this really lovely texture. This is probably one of my favorite embossing folders right now, just because you get that great texture, but it is very generic. It's not flowers, it's not polka dots, it just ends up being a nice background. Okay, I have another piece of cardstock that is 4 inches by 5 1/4 white. This is for the inside panel of the card. Then I have a piece of Bubble Bath cardstock, this beautiful light pink. This piece is 4 1/4 inches by 11, and I have scored and folded it at 5 1/2 inches. All right, so this piece is going to go on the front of our card. I'm going to use quite a bit of glue on this just because of the texture. And actually, when I do a little bit more on this card, I'm going to choose to use tear and tape because sometimes the texture can make it challenging for it to stick. But this is going to work just fine with my textured panel onto my cardstock. All right, lining that up. Okay, there's our front panel. Then, besides the pieces that I've already mentioned, all you need is a small scrap of white, a small scrap of Bubble Bath, and then also another small scrap. It's larger though, a scrap like this. It has to be big enough to accommodate your punch. So it just needs to be a minimum of about 3 inches. And then, of course, this width doesn't matter. All right, so onto here, we're going to do our stamping. I'm using stamps from Circle Sayings. And this one is going to be my first image right here. Then I'm going to put the cute little cupcake right in the middle. Then I'll go to that smaller scrap. Because this was such a big scrap, I could do more on here, but I'm going to go ahead and show you on this small scrap. This is where the happy birthday is going to get stamped. And on this particular piece, you do kind of want a smaller, narrow scrap, and that is so that you can easily slide it into your double oval. See, if I had stamped on here, by the time I put it in, I'm going to punch out a lot of extra paper and it's going to be wasted. So you can see on this smaller strip of paper, I can slide it in and I'm not going to have much waste at all. All right, there's the happy birthday. And then with that top oval, the scallop part of the double oval punch, I will punch out my scrap of bubble bath. Okay, let's attach the one oval to the other. And I'm going to use some Stampin' Dimensionals to attach this to the card. You could either use a couple of small ones, or I'll just use 2 large ones this time. All right, and then we've got this piece, which we're going to go ahead and color and then punch out. So let's do that next. All right, the first thing that I'm going to do is use my I'm using soft suede, which I know that that color has recently been retired and removed from our core colors. But because I have the Stampin' Blends in soft suede, I thought the color was really nice, but you could substitute a different brown. So I'm using dark soft suede to color what basically, to me, looks like a dark chocolate cake part of my cupcake. I'm using the bullet end just because it is a very tiny space, and I'm not really worried about doing any kind of shading or anything on that little bit of cake that is showing. Then I'm using light soft suede, and I'm going to color the cupcake paper, but I'm not going to completely fill it in. Like, by design, I'm going to kind of miss a few spots here and there. I do a lot of baking, and when I use white cupcake papers or liners, they often will kind of look like this if you are putting chocolate cake inside them. They'll still kind of be whitish, not completely transparent. You'll still see some of the chocolate cake through it, but not super dark. So I felt like that was kind of realistic. Then I'm going to use the light bubble bath and just quickly color all of the frosting. And then with dark bubble bath, do a little bit of the shading. And Stampin' Up makes it so easy for us because the artist has already created some little lines and shadows. You can pretty much just follow what's there. So I'm putting some dark in these spots, a little here. And then I think where the frosting meets the cake, it would probably appear a little bit darker right there. So I'm just going to add a little shadow there. Okay, now we can punch this out with that coordinating punch. If you were to have the stamp set and did not buy the bundle in order to get the punch, you could probably use any number of circle dies. You could find one that would fit around this, but as we all know, a punch makes it really fast. All right, now we're going to attach this to the front of the card. This is where I had mentioned about the texture. Sometimes one piece attaching to another piece that's highly textured doesn't want to stick as well. So on here, we're going to use the tear and tape. I'm looking for my scissors. Okay. So I'm just going to put a couple of little pieces of tear and tape on here. I think I'll do 3. And then that's going to be a lot more effective hanging on to that chunky texture that's going on right here. Okay, placement wise, I'm going to do this in the bottom right corner, not down too terribly low. And I'm just kind of making sure that my cupcake looks like it's sitting straight. All right, there's that. And we can add our happy birthday. And I'm really liking the pink and the brown. I mean, traditionally, pink, brown, and white just say bakery. So it's really easy to make this look cute and yummy with those colors. And then I think I'll add a couple of rhinestones just to give it some pop. So I'm going to put my rhinestones, I'm going to use 3, and I'm going to put one up here in that space by the happy birthday, one near my cupcake to draw some attention, extra attention to it, and then one down here to provide balance. All right, at that point, I want to add the inside panel. The bubble bath cardstock is not super dark, so if you did not want to put a white panel, you wouldn't need to. You can certainly write on the inside of that card, but I do personally prefer a white panel on the inside of my cards. So let's just put that in place. And then as I'm thinking about the front of that cupcake, I do think that I'm going to add a little bit of Wink of Stella just on the frosting to give it another little bit of shimmer. This is going to be kind of hard to see. I don't know that the camera picks it up very well, but if you have worked with Wink of Stella at all, you know that it is a soft, subtle shimmer, not really a glitter, but a shimmer. And there we have today's Simply Saturday card. I hope you enjoyed my short tutorial today. I hope to hear from you. Please leave me a comment and let me know if you liked this, if you plan on making one, if you are getting the Circle Sayings bundle. And below this video, I will provide a bunch of information for you, including the current host code, information and dimensions about our product today, and some other helpful links. Thank you so much for watching. Happy stamping!